Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on The Two Gentlemen of Verona, and we get to hear from Launce today in Act 2, Scene 3, but yesterday we were in Act 2, Scene 1, so got a little bit of catch-up that we need to do. So before we get to Launce and who he is, remember that the two gentlemen of Verona are Proteus and Valentine, and Valentine has left Verona. He's actually in Milan right now because he wanted to see the world, but Proteus wanted to stay home because he's in love with Julia. Proteus' father and uncle think that Proteus needs to go explore the world a little bit more, so Proteus is being sent to meet up with Valentine in Milan, which he's not so happy about, that we find out about in just a second. We'll get there. Meanwhile, Valentine in Milan has started to develop feelings for this woman named Sylvia, who may or may not be the best looking woman in the world, but she had him write a love letter basically to himself, but he didn't get it when she then gave him the letter that he had written. He's like, no, it's for your friend. And she's like, it's for you. So he's maybe a little thick. So anyway, that was Act 2, Scene 1. Act 2, Scene 2, we have Proteus saying goodbye to Julia, and it's very like, oh, I shall miss you, and here, take this token. They give each other rings, and they're like, let's seal this departure with a holy kiss. And then Proteus goes on and starts like spouting all sorts of poetry. He doesn't want to have to leave her, and he's going to miss her, and all of this sort of thing. Remember, he's the one that has to leave Verona now and go catch up with Valentine in Milan. So he's like, and so long, adieu, farewell. And in the middle of his monologue, she leaves. And he's like, well, she could have at least said goodbye. And it's not a long enough monologue to qualify for this, but he does like go on about the poetry for a little bit. And then she just leaves, like without saying anything. He's like, that was weird. And then Pantheon comes in, Pantino comes in to say like, time to go, let's get out of here. And that's the end of Act 2, Scene 2. So Act 2, Scene 3 starts off with Launce, who is Proteus' servant, which means he has to go with Proteus to Milan. And he kicks off Act 2, Scene 3 by saying, nay, 'twill be this hour ere I have done weeping. All the kind of the Launces have this very fault. I have received my proportion, like the prodigious son, and am going with Sir Proteus to the Imperial's court. I think Crab, my dog, be the sourest natured dog that lives. My mother weeping, my father wailing, my sister crying, our maid howling, our cat wringing her hands, and all our house in a great perplexity, yet did not this cruel-hearted cur shed one tear. He is a stone, a very pibble stone, and has no more pity in him than a dog. And you would have wept to see our parting. Why, my grandam, having no eyes, look you, wept herself blind at my parting. Nay, I'll show you the manner of it. This shoe is my father. No, this left shoe is my father. No, this left shoe is my mother. Nay, that cannot be so neither. Yes, it is so, it is so. It hath the worser soul. This shoe with a hole in it is my mother, and this my father. A vengeance on it. There 'tis. Now, sir, this staff is my sister, for look you, she is as white as a lily and as small as a wand. This hat is Nan, our maid. I am the dog. No, the dog is himself, and I am the dog. Oh, the dog is me, and I am myself. Aye. So, now come I to my father. Father, your blessing? Now, should not the shoe speak a word for weeping? Now should I kiss my father? Well, he weeps on. Now I come to my mother. Oh, that she could speak now like a wood woman. Well, I kiss her, why there 'tis. Here's my mother's breath, up and down. Now come I to my sister. Mark the moan she makes. Now the dog, all this while, sheds not a tear, nor speaks a word, but see how I lay the dust with my tears. So he's talking about his farewell as he's going around and he's saying farewell to all of his family members, to his mom, to his dad, to his sister, to his maid, to his cat, and to his dog. And he's the most upset that his dog Crab didn't show any signs of being sad that he was leaving. He's like, my parents were crying their eyes out, and my sister was so upset. And he even goes so far as to like take out props and start to act it out. That's what the whole thing with the shoe is, where he's like, this shoe is my father, this shoe is my mother. He's trying to like demonstrate how cold-hearted his dog is, like as he reenacts the goodbye with his father and reenacts the goodbye with his mother. And he's like, all the time that this is going on and there's all these people crying in the room and my dog doesn't cry at all. So he's very upset about that. But then Pantino comes in and is like, come on, they're like, the boat's all packed up. You got to go. You got to get out of here. And he begrudgingly goes because if he doesn't go, then he won't have a job anymore. And there's a back and forth of that ilk, like you must follow your master and blah, blah, blah. And but look at how horrible my dog is. The thing that I find really cute is in some versions of this play, they actually list the dog Crab as one of the characters in this scene. So yeah, that's lovely. But anyway, that's basically it. Launce doesn't want to go to Milan, but has to go, and his whole family, except for his dog, is upset that he has to leave as well. And then he leaves. So he and Proteus are now on their way to Milan to meet up with Valentine, and we will find out what happens when they get there when we dig further into the play tomorrow. I'll see you then. Mwah.